What three things did St. Ignatius desire before he died? What's the name of the Jesuit that convinced St. Ignatius to write an autobiography? What was St. Ignatius like in his day-to-day life? This and more we will learn on this episode 1 of St. Ignatius of Loyola, Getting to Know Him. So, a Jesuit companion of St. Ignatius writes that there were 3 things that he desired before he went to his glory. Shh. Now, I'm using that as an acronym. You hear more about that. But the first thing he wanted, St. Ignatius, was that the Society of Jesus would have final approval and confirmation by the Pope. The second thing he wanted was that he could write and finish the constitutions of the Society of Jesus, right? The text that talks about Jesuit life and what it means to live this mission as a member of the society. The third thing he wanted was a confirmation and approval of the spiritual exercises. So I used SH for like SCS. The society approved, the constitutions approved, the spiritual exercises approved. Well, this Jesuit companion of St. Ignatius, his name is Nadal, Jeronimo Nadal, seeing that these 3 things had come to fruition, he thought, you know what? St. Ignatius, well, he wasn't St. Ignatius then, but our Father Ignatius will probably soon be called to glory by the Lord, now that these desires have been fulfilled. And so he thought to himself, there are these different religious communities and monasteries where their founders usually bequeath them or leave them some writings to guide them. And so he thought, you know what? I think we need to ask our Father Ignatius to try to do something like that. Well, the opportunity came. St. Ignatius, well, I'll say our Father Ignatius at this time, walked into the room where Nadal was, and he started to share with Nadal that he just come from this prayer experience, like St. Paul says, he had a prayer that lifted him up to the 3rd heavens, So he thought, he just had another one of these experiences, as Nadal said, he often had. So I know a lot of times we see our Jesuit and Ignatian spirituality as something practical, which is true. We see Ignatius as an administrator, which is true as well. But there's also this kind of mysticism, Ignatian the mystic, who often had these great experiences of prayer. Check out the photo behind, huh? Well, in either case, Nadal was going to ask some more about this prayer experience, and Ignatius kind of waved him off. And then he thought, okay, this is my moment. So he tells Ignatius, you know what? God is probably going to soon call you to glory now that all these things that you desired have been approved. We think it would be an amazing gift if you could sort of leave us something about how God has been at work in your life, so that it will be like a pattern for us and a testimony that we can, carry on. Well, Ignatius was like, I don't have enough time to dedicate to something like this, I can't give it the attention that it needs, because he was busy trying to get this, new religious community going. Anyway, he did say this. He said, now, Nadal, what I want you to do, along with 2 other companions, Nadal, Polanco, and Poncio, the 3 of you pray 3 masses for this intention, and then come back afterwards and tell me the fruit of your prayer, right? And Nadal was like, we're going to think the same thing, Ignatius. And Ignatius told him, hey, Nadal, do what I ask of you. So they prayed, they came back, they still wanted him to do it. And I think Ignatius thought, okay, I will do it. But you know what? A year after Nadal asked, has he begun to write down about his life? Ignatius was like, no, too many things going on. Well, Nadal was sent somewhere else. And when he came back from that travel and from that mission, almost 4 years had passed by. And he came and asked Ignatius again, have you done this yet? Have you started on this testament that you're leaving us? And Ignatius said, no. Well, what Nadal told him at this time was this. You know what? If you were to do this for us, if you were to give us this gift, it will be so advantageous. It will be such an incredible, incredible gift to us, he says. But if you do not do it, we are not for this reason going to be depressed or, crestfallen. He says, we will still put our confidence in God that it will be as if you wrote it anyway. Well, Nadal thinks that after Ignatius heard this, indifference, anyone? After he saw the indifference in Nadal, what does indifference mean? It means kind of putting yourself in a balance, and just relying entirely on God. We're not kind of moved by just affections for something, but primarily for love of God, right? And so Nadal has now mentioned to him, if you do it, it will be a wonderful gift. If you don't do it, we will still rely on God. And I think this was the move for Ignatius. Nadal thinks that very day, Ignatius started to dictate part of the autobiography, which we all now have as a testament to how God worked in the life of Saint Ignatius. And part of what I would love in this series, we're going to try to share maybe a couple of videos during the week, is for us to get to know Saint Ignatius through what he shared in his autobiography. So, blessings to you. This has been episode 1 of Saint Ignatius of Loyola, getting to know him. AMDG. Blessings, everyone.